Stream. My name is Paul Amundsen, and I'm currently taking programming one at Fullsail University. Um, the basic gist is I'm using ChatGPT 5 to help my learning curve. I'm 42, I'm single, technically I'm married, separated. I live by myself. I have to work 8 hours a day. My goal is to design video games and produce comic books. I like writing. And my 2 cent has always been about self improvement through self education. And what has happened over the course of my life, from the age of once I graduated high school from 18 at the age of 17. So every adversity of life has made it difficult for me to do the things that I wanted to do, which is to pursue my dreams. And the older I got and the more I looked at the way the world is structured and the way things work in society with or without racism, I started to understand that the biggest problem with the world is that adults don't educate children properly to make to set you guys up for success. So we're kind of raised to believe that we could do whatever we want and we can disguise the limit. All you have to do is be obedient, and be responsible, follow rules, follow directions, and then you will have no problem in the world. And what I experienced specific, I won't say this is the standard for everybody, but I'll say what I experienced is that no matter how obedient you are, no matter how well you plan, no matter how much you try to be honest, truthful, and operate from a level of integrity and be a part of a society, there will always be people that will lie, cheat, rob, steal, murder, kill, be disrespectful, be rude, be inconsiderate, talk to you like you're dumb, treat you like shit, and go out of their way to make your life as miserable as possible. And in the opposition of that, the people around you that should be helping you and should be supporting you won't believe you and won't trust you. And nothing that you do can change that. So it doesn't matter if you actually are a terrible person. You could be doing everything right. You could be being honest. You could be being upfront. You could be being compassionate. You could be being reasonable. The people around you won't care. They won't care. They won't believe you. The only thing worse than a lie is not believing the truth. And a lot of times you can be straight up front and honest and direct with people, and they just have their own internal understanding about who they are that they use to measure the rest of the world against. And then no matter what you do, you're gonna fail, right? So I took this class already, and in the process of taking this class, I started receiving high marks, and then I started receiving zeros. And the reason why I started receiving zeros was because the instructor understood that this individual is probably using large language models to make the grade. But there's a difference between cheating and using LLMs and using any other tool to make your job easier. The whole point of human beings is use tools to make things easier. So all the adversities that I have in life, I'm using ChatGPT to make the process easier, not to just do my homework for me. I'm still learning the information and I'm still keeping up with society, with the class, but I'm able to do it with the stressors of life because of ChatGPT. There was no communication, there was no exchange, there was no interaction. It was just accusation and punishment. And I didn't get it. I didn't have a jury. I didn't get a trial. And I really don't care. The reason why I'm recording what I'm doing is it's my 2 cent self improvement through self education. So this is the reason why I don't like school. This is the reason why I don't like going to universities. If it wasn't for the GI Bill and the extra $700 a month I would get for rent, I wouldn't be subjecting myself to Fullsail University. I could just use ChatGPT to teach me how to program. That's what I'm doing anyway. The instructors aren't teaching me. They're just giving me restrictions on what I'm allowed to do so they can give me a grade. And I have to give them money for them to give me restrictions, tell me what I can't do, and then learn how to program within the confines of what they want. They want to teach me how to do all of the stuff that I've already learned in life. I'm 42. I'm not 19. They want to teach me how to be a functional adult. I don't need to be taught how to be a functional adult. I already know how to do that stuff. You want to grade me on my ability to be able to function and operate and behave in society. I already know how to do all that stuff. You gave me a zero for professionalism. I spent 6 years in the army. I got an honorable and then a general. And I only got a general because I got tired of fighting with them about the bullshit. Like I don't have time to be entertaining that shit anymore. So I just like forget it, I'm leaving. But that's like that's what we have to do in the world. That's what society is. That's where we're at in society. So that's what this is. It's just a very quick, very simple way of explaining the way things are. I started programming one homeless living on campus. I've said this a lot of times. I was ran off the campus. I wasn't allowed to stay. Security and the police harassed me indirectly until I left. And I didn't really have. My goal was to just go to school, get a degree, and then try to get a job as a game developer or self-educate. That was my plan. That was my goal. Everything worked against that. So I hopped in my car, drove to Vancouver, Washington, where I am now. Got a job full time. Got a second part time job. Slept in my car for about. I was in my car for about a year, homeless, until I got the apartment that I'm in now. All my bills and stuff are paid. Money is super tight right now, but this is what has to be done. This is how this looks. You have to either do it or you don't. I make $700 a month for going to school full time, or I can go get a second job and make 2 or 3 times that amount, but then don't have any free time to do anything with my life. Those are our options. So I'm trying to go back to school. It's super disingenuous for an instructor to award completed assignments a zero instead of trying to understand or come to some mutual communication with a student. He's like, you just reach out to me if you have any problems. Like, you don't think that you should give and explain or try to understand why the assignments are done properly, but then you still want to just give me a zero. And I know the only reason why you're doing it is because of large language models. But the entire course and the entire way that you teach and educate has evolved over time because the tools of society has made it easier to do the things. It's like educators want to teach, but then they don't want to actually teach. So they create rules to prevent students from cheating. But the more rules they create to prevent students from cheating, the more pressure they put on students to have to cheat just to be able to keep up with following rules and regulations and guardrails to hinder the learning process instead of just teaching, instead of just having a structure that allows people to show that they're competent and understand. And if it wasn't for all that bullshit, I wouldn't need ChatGPT to get through the school. The course is not designed as advertised. It's not designed as advertised. You have to have intermediate or advanced level experience in programming to be able to get through the course as advertised. And it's unfair and it's disingenuous to somebody like myself that says I have zero knowledge of programming and I want to learn how to make a game engine. Is this a good course for me? And the school representatives say, yeah, when you're done with this course, you will have enough information to be able to build a game engine. And so here I am in this class with no experience, scratching my head like, I don't understand this stuff. Going through all the videos and materials, like none of this stuff is connecting. There's no connection. There's no, like none of this makes any sense. I don't get it. So then I was like, forget it. If I can't figure this out and they're not going to teach me, like I said, when I was physically on the campus going to class, they didn't care. I was going to them with all my grievances. I was going to them communicating my issues and trying to keep up. They didn't care. They just didn't care. It just reached a plateau to where there was like, I can't keep studying, not getting any sleep while working full time at Arby's, while sitting in classes and sitting in labs, mandatory without any guidance or instructions. There's no way for me to continue this learning curve. It's just not gonna happen. So after I got done getting settled into the apartment and dealing with the BS of life here and getting things stabilized, I was like, hey, ChatGPT is pretty awesome. I could probably go back to school. I could use this as a tutor. This thing can teach me how to program. And that's what I was doing. And I'm keeping up. I'm making the grades. I'm already like a week in, and I'm already over the curve. And I've got all this extra free time to be able to use just to keep up and study. I'm going back over week one because I was able to get through week two, and I wanted to try to get stronger. So I had the time to go back over week one, and I get two hundreds and a zero. And it's like, oh, you're using material outside of the scope of the class. What do you mean I'm using material outside of the scope of the class? I turned the assignment in and it was working properly. What do you mean I'm using material outside the scope of the class? I don't understand what it is that I'm learning to understand what I'm doing wrong. All I know is I need to match these colors until this code runs properly. And I need to study the nomenclature and understand the jargon to put together the pieces that are necessary for me to be able to actually be successful with this thing. What do you mean? And then it's like, I know that I'm not competent enough to defend my position. So why would I even call the teacher and even try to argue with him that I'm smart when I know that I'm not? I know that I'm not competent enough to pass the class. I'm using large language models to learn, right? Like you're ignorant, and then you learn. Society likes to say you're stupid, and then you're not able to learn. Society says, oh, you're stupid. And no matter how much you look at it, you're never going to be able to get it. So you should just quit. That's what society says. Give us our $6,000 for this class so that we can tell you that you're stupid. And then you can just do something else with your life. Because this isn't for you. That's the way our world is structured currently. And to me, it's like, I'm not stupid, I'm ignorant. I can self-educate. Every time I put my mind to learn something other than drawing, and it's not even a learning thing, it's a time thing, which I'm realizing now. I don't have the time to dedicate to things that I need to do things at the level that what I can do them at. And that has always been my conflict. So you're ignorant and you want to learn something, it's going to take a certain amount of time to reach a certain plateau to where your learning curve goes from I'm following the directions and doing what I'm told to I understand what it is that I'm doing enough to make modifications that will make this process easier for me, my way to simultaneously do what is expected of me. And that's the part of the education system and the learning system that is lost through all of the unnecessary go, faster, hurry. That's what's lost in the world. That's why my 2 cent has its own clock and its own calendar. So you can use your own scientific units of measurement. So this is not actually a lecture for me to talk to you guys. This is me supposed to be studying. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get back to studying. Okay.
science and programming topics such as algorithms, software problem solving, input-output, control flow, functions, object-oriented programming, and references. Students will learn how to program software in a modern, high-level programming language. In addition, we will explore the differences between data types within programming languages and create, edit, and use functions and procedures to popularize code. During your time in this course, you will have different types of learning experiences. You may also meet different faculty and presenters in various lectures and videos within the curriculum. These subject matter specialists are here to help enrich and expand your learning in this course. As your primary instructor to the course, I'm here to support you through this curriculum. Please refer to my contact information in the LMS and reach out anytime you have any questions or need assistance. On behalf of everyone at Fullsail University, we're so glad you're here. I'm looking forward to helping support your goals, and I know you'll do great things. Course Director of Programming 1. Whether you're a student interested in software development, mobile development, game development, simulation and visualization, or just somebody looking to expand their skill set, welcome to the first step of your software engineering journey. I wanted to take some time to set some expectations, as this course may be unlike some of the other courses you've taken in the past. As a general rule of thumb, you'll want to reserve a minimum of 20 hours per week for Programming 1. And while this course is designed for students that have no experience with software development at all, if you've never touched programming before, you'll probably want to reserve more than 20 hours a week. Be sure to check out the course syllabus available on both the About section as well as the course overview on FSO. This will give you a better understanding of the overall workload week to week. If you do have previous software development experience, you may find the toolset available to you in this course is fairly limited. That's because this course focuses on developing fundamental skills in both programming and problem solving. It's important to note that while students are both allowed and encouraged to do their own independent research, you will not be able to incorporate any external concepts within your code that are not directly referenced in your course materials. You can find more information regarding these limitations under the External Resource Use Policy within the Academic Integrity and Proper Use of Sources Knowledge Check. Programming 1 is both an immediate schedule and dual attempt support. This means that if you are unable to complete Programming 1 on your first attempt, you will be immediately rescheduled back into the course on the following. However, if you're still unable to complete the course on that second attempt, a member of the emerging communications team will reach out to you in order to determine your best path forward. This may include a third attempt on the class, but may also include considering a change of enrollment. You can find additional information on the 2-attempt policy under the course overview on FSO. Finally, myself and the rest of the PG1 team are passionate and invested in the success of every student who comes through this course. As a result, we offer a wide range of support options, including several live lectures, virtual open lab sessions, and support on Discord. However, we also understand that it may be difficult for some students, including those encountering external stressors, to keep up with the pace of the course. If you find yourself falling behind for any reason, you are strongly encouraged to reach out to your student advisor, as they may be able to support you in ways that the PG1 team cannot. This may also include temporarily dropping the class and revisiting it at a later time when you're both adequately prepared and refreshed. After completing this assignment, your next steps will be to review the Getting Started with PG1 assignment, which will walk you through installing the necessary software for the course. In addition, you'll want to make sure to take note of the live lecture schedule as well as the virtual open lab schedule, both available on FSO. Again, welcome, and I'm looking forward to another great month of PG1.
course policy, external resource policy. While students are encouraged to supplement the course material with their own independent research, there are several rules within the course when utilize third-party resources. In addition, we understand that some students may have prior knowledge or experience with C++ or an associated programming language. You may utilize additional resources outside the course scope course. However, you may not use concepts or practices from external resources that are not discussed within Programming 1 in any project without approval from your instructor. This is a zero tolerance policy. Failure to consult your instructor will result in a zero for the assignment and may be considered academic dishonesty. Set concepts and practices include but are not limited to: you may not use the go to, continue, or constant keyword. You may not use the auto size underscore t, null terminator, or any other data type not explicitly discussed within the course material. This does not include external material. You may not use any resize, ignore, clear, static cast, reinterpret class, dynamic cast, or any methods not explicitly discussed within course material. This does not include external material. You may not use C++ pointers, references, or initialized list. You may not use automatic generative or corrected code in any form. This includes but is not limited to code snippets, large language learning models, or AI assistant, Visual Studio extensions, plugins, or add-ons. Technology programs late policy. The assignment/lab discussed due dates are listed in FSO. Always ask FSO for the current due date. No assignment labeled discussed will be accepted after the last date of class, defined as the date of the final exam without prior written approval from your instructor. To avoid date penalties, you must notify your instructor in writing before the due date listed in FSO if you need an extension for any reason. If an extension is not required before the due date, a late penalty of 10 points will be applied to the assignment/lab/discussion for the 48 hours. After 48 hours, the assignment/lab/discussion can be submitted for feedback, but you will receive a zero grade unless otherwise agreed to by the instructor. Exam, practice quizzes, and other assignments are not accepted after the listed due date. Grades, assignment, labs discussions cannot be resubmitted. There may be some exceptions on a case-by-case basis. Week 1 planning topics covers console, IO, data types, conversion, debugging methods. Day 1, Research 1, Lecture 1, console input, output. Research 1, Submit Lab 1. Research 2, for Lecture 2, debugging and conversion. Research 2, for Submit Lab 2. Research 3, Lecture 3 method. Research 3, Submit Lab 3. Weekly challenges. Next week, Labs 1 is due, Labs 2 is due, and Labs 3 is due. This is the planning schedule for week 1. So I was in day 1, now I will be in day 2. Study question. Identify the following as either variables, declaration, definition, or initializers. So now this stuff right here didn't know what any of this stuff meant, right? So what is int? What is num equals 5? What is the semicolon? What is the x equal 10 in the semicolon? What is the integer num in the semicolon? std.string name equals Doug. This is integer. They don't have a clear, this is a keyword. I think this is a keyword based on what they're saying. Or is it a data type? I'm not actually sure. The way that they explain the information in the course is not clear. This is an integer though, and I know integer means number. And the way C++ code works, from my current understanding, and I'm probably wrong because I'm in the process of learning, I'm still ignorant. The way that it works is that this number is evaluated into number as an integer. So number is the name assigned to this integer that carries the value of 5. And this semicolon is like the period for this statement. X equals 10 is the same thing. X is just a variable and it's being assigned 10. There's no other thing, right? Like, is X an integer? Is X a string? I don't know because they don't explain this information. So X, whatever X is, should have the value of 10. So x should equal 10. Integer number, don't understand that. This doesn't make any sense to me because this doesn't make that much sense. So I know what an integer is and I know what a number is, but the statement is closed. So is this just saying that number is an integer? And then I guess if number is an integer, then number is an integer that equals 5. So this number is here also, and it equals 5. I guess I have to assume. So this is an integer that is 5. And std string is standard, I want to say template directory or something like that. It's part of the library, the C++ library. When you look at the C++ code up here, it pulls information from predefined snippets of code, and up here, this is where this is include is the stuff that's in the library. It's like predefined code. So std string is a string in the standard template library, and that whatever this format is, that thing is named. That thing is being assigned to this name. This name is being assigned to this keyword, which is part of the standard template library, with the value of Doug as a string, not as a number. Strings are just grammatic values, integers or numbers, which can be operated as mathematical values. Let's go back. You guys can go back. What operators perform assignments? What operators perform string concatenation? And one of the things that I've been doing, what is concatenation? I don't know. I don't know what concatenation is. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? The biggest thing that's been allowing me to get over my learning curve is this is the main thing that I've been doing with ChatGPT is in C++, what is? And can you give me its basic structure? Concatenation is a word that was used, and I don't understand what concatenation means. So this is what I've been doing. This is the main thing that I've been doing. Concatenation means joining values end to end. In C++, you'll do this most often with strings, but you can also concatenate containers like std vectors. That actually makes sense. Concatenation is like when it's kind of like the assignment, hello, my name is whatever. You have hello, and you have my name is, and you have like my name is Bob, and then the code brings in the information and based on the structure, and then it can output all that information in a long string. That doing that operation in that format is what concatenation means. When I was first studying, there was so much stuff to learn that it was all overwhelming. It was too much information. So that's why I couldn't figure out how to do that. That's the reason why I couldn't figure out how to do that thing. Once I learned all the other stuff, this was what was missing. I'm like, there's a disconnect. So concatenation means joining values end to end. You'll do this most often with strings, but you can also concatenate containers like std ... vector. So here are sample codes in C++ on how to concatenate std string result equals left plus right. Std string s left s plus equal right. And then here's an example using namespace. Using namespace means that you don't have to. The std The STD is part of the user namespace, I think, if I remember correctly. Excuse me. Well, yeah, I'll just go through this and I'll go through this while I'm going through the assignments. What method is used to convert a string to an integer? String to int, I believe. What is an overloaded method? An overloaded method is a method. If you have a method A and you have method B, C, and D, and method B, C, and D uses aspects from method A, because method B, C, and D are all pulling information from method A. That's what makes method. That's what makes the method an overloaded method. How do you perform a cast? So here is using the word cast. So when I was doing my homework, I knew I needed to do a cast. So when I was trying to get ChatGPT to help me understand what it was I was trying to do, it kept trying to give me the static cast. And I'm like, well, I don't think that's what I need to do. But it's like, no, this is what needs to happen because based on what they're asking you, this is the best way to do it. So that's how I want to use a static cast because I was trying to figure out how to do it. I didn't know what to, like how I kind of remember string to integer, and then the other one was like boolean to float. I didn't remember what it was called, and I couldn't remember what the thing was to go find the information that I needed for the thing. So when I was trying to get ChatGPT to help me, it was like you can just use this static cast to do this thing, and it's like, no, I don't think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. There should be something else that I should be able to use. And it's like, well, based on the outlining, based on the academic integrity and everything else, I can't give you an answer. And it's like, but I don't know what it is that I'm trying to do. Can you help me understand what I'm trying to do? And it's like, well, based on what you're trying to do, this is the answer. Just use the static cast. I'm like, but that's not the correct thing. And so I just got tired of that loop of, I'm not supposed to do it this way, and I need you to help me do it correctly. I can't help you do it correctly because academic integrity doesn't allow me to provide you with the proper answer. Like, you know what, fuck it. If it's gonna work, then you'll do it this way. And then it passed. No, okay, it passed, whatever. So I submit the assignment because I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. It's day one. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to figure this shit out. All I know is these things need to pass, and I need to make it work. After sitting here for so many hours, I need to make it work. So then I got marked. So I got a 60 on that assignment because I used the static cast and I'm not supposed to. But it's like, how am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know that in the process of the learning process? Oh, you're supposed to be paying attention and focus. I am paying attention. I am focusing, but there's a lot of shit to absorb in a short amount of time. Identify these parts of a method. Return type identifier parameter list. What is the difference between a parameter and an argument? What is the value stored in this variable? Integer number equals 5. Number plus minus equals 10. Research programming basics vocabulary. I already read this page. Printer data types, scalar data types, define initialization concatenation, interpolation, string interpolation to C++, idioms, code block class, comment a programmer, keywords. The following is a list of important keywords used when discussing programming basics. Clarity types, 1 byte, a data type used to store character values. These values must be wrapped in a single quote. Character letter equals L, character space equals space, character number as char equals 1. STD strings are special data type for storing a set or sequence of character values. These values must be wrapped in a double quote. In some languages, it may not be considered a primitive type value. The size of a string will be determined by the number of characters it has. In C++, it must be called from the standard library using the std prefix, unless you use the std namespace. So when you use the std namespace, that's what I was confused with. This is the stuff I'm talking about when it comes to how they have their stuff structured, right? This is what I'm talking about. So the std string dot name, and then down here the std string dot name. Once you assign it to this, you no longer have to use this for this, right? But they're not explaining that in the lecture, right? Like I get that they want us to go through all this data, but if I read all of this and I'm just reading it arbitrarily, I'm not really paying any attention to it. How am I supposed to remember that std string std string assigns name equals Doug to this, and then later in their code when they write name and they make a method and they just write name and it just works. It's like how is that working? What did you do to make that work? Because this is going to be way name std namespace is going to be way at the top, and so they're just writing code and they're just going through the motions. It's like, how do I know how this stuff is all correlated together? How do I know how this stuff is matching and working? So that's the main reason why I'd be so frustrated. Okay, now example use std string name, std string greet, hey. Example without using the std namespace, name equals Doug, greet equals hey. Operators, the following is a list of operators used when discussing programming basics. Equals string, equals assignment, assign. A single equation sign will always assign a value to a variable. The identifier will always be the left side of the single equation operator, and the value will always be on the right. The value may be in the form of a literal value or a reference. std string name equals Doug, integer number equals 5. Plus minus plus sign. The plus sign is also used for combining strings using string concatenation. Hello, my name is plus name sure plus I'd love to go. Scope resolution. The scope resolution operator denotes the parent/child relationship for this course. It will typically be used to access methods with classes or objects. Example, std.cout hello world. Insert extraction used to insert something into an input and output string. std string name, std.cout enter your name, sets a value to the console output. std.cin name gets a value from the console input. Crossword practice. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's down here. Oh, okay. This is part of the keywords. Research program basics 2, vocabulary. Signed, unassigned. The term signed in computer code indicates that a variable can hold negative and positive values. In computer programming, the word unassigned means a variable with only positive numbers. Implicit conversion. An implicit conversion refers to the automatic conversion of one data type to another by a compiler without requiring any explicit conversion operation or casting syntax. It occurs when the expression of one type is used in a context where a different type is expected. Explicit conversion refers to the process of explicit converting one data type into another data type using a cast operator. It allows you to convert a value of one type to another in a controlled and internal manner. Cast refers to the process of converting a value of one data type to another data type. It allows you to explicitly change an object or expression type, enabling you to perform operations not directly supported by the original type. Parsing refers to the analyzing a sequence of characters typically stored as a string and interpreting its structure according to specific grammar or syntax rules. It involves breaking down the input into meaningful components or tokens, validating their arguments, and extracting relevant information. The following is a list of important keywords used when discussing programming basics. Unassigned, a modified keyword that determines whether or not the data type range includes negative. Need to keep my devices charged. Sometimes it's the important keywords used to discuss programming basics. Unassigned, a modifier keyword that determines whether or not the data type range includes negative numbers. If the unassigned modifier is used, the data type cannot include negative numbers. Short integers, 2 bytes. Shorts are 16-bit integers, value types that store whole numbers. When signed and represented as short integers, it can store a value of negative 32, 768 to 32 to 768. Oh, well, that's not a comma. It can store values of negative 32,768 to 32,767. When assigned and represented an unassigned short, it can store values from 0 to 65,535. And it's just the bit type, unassigned short integer, unassigned short integer. But see, I still don't understand signed and unassigned. The term signed in computer code indicates that a variable can hold negative and positive. So is it a variable? I think it's a variable. Great question. And is an integer, string, boolean, float, etc. in C++ a variable? Great question. Short answer: no. Integer, boolean, floats, doubles, and std dot dot strings are types, not variables. A variable is a name. A variable is the name object of a type. So all of those things are types. So the keywords are types. This is a variable. What is a type? I think it's time for me to go run. It's Runday. It's Runday. right, stream. It's Runday. I'm going to go do a 2 mile run. It's 12:30 in the morning. I'm gonna go do a 2 mile run. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna finish doing my homework, reading through all the material until I go to work. I gotta be at work at 5:30. I'll go to work. I'll come home at 2, and once I get home at 2, I will try to stay up until 6 p.m. and lay down from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. And that's gonna be the way I'm gonna get this stuff done the way that they want me to do it. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna whine and complain. I'm just gonna do my best to learn how to program while also convincing Fullsail University to give me a good grade. So, as always, it's Paul. I'm giving you my 2 cents.